This is Hammond,
And Jessica.
and you're listening to the Friendly Atheist Podcast remotely. Please go to patreon.com/Friendly Atheist Podcast. How are you?
You know what? It's been a pretty good week. It's a mixed bag of week. Yesterday, my first niece on my family's side was born.
Oh,
My brother and his wife, they had their little girl. Her name's Maeve, which is incredible. I have, I think, 10 nieces and nephews on Mikey's side.
okay, but none of your
But this is
side.
my first side on my biological family. So it's amazing. It's also fucking heartbreaking because I don't know when I'll get to meet her.
Yeah.
This is my parents' first grandkid, and
Right.
they don't know when they're going to get to. I'm thrilled. Like, all I can ask for is that she's healthy, Maggie is healthy. That's all that matters. I'm thrilled for this, but it's rough, man. I want to meet my niece. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Ooh,
hopefully
okay.
soon. Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
It's all good. Better the birth than the other side of things.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
so. Well, good. Congratulations. How exciting.
Yeah.
You are going to be babysitting one hell of a lot. I give it a year.
I mean, I hope I would love to. I hope my dog is very good with human children, which I tell Hammond all the time. I think Dottie would be a very good babysitter of Hammond's human children.
My youngest
is probably bigger than them.
Yeah. They will scream like crazy.
I told you about the love affair Dottie is having with my next door neighbor, right?
Yes.
I'm obsessed. I'm trying to get a picture of them like looking at each other across like the gates of our balconies because it is going to win a Pulitzer. It's the most heartwarming thing in the entire world. Anyway. You know what I discovered this week? Tell me.
Answers in Genesis, the creationist people behind Ark Encounter. They are jealous of like Netflix and Hulu getting all the streaming action and everyone's in a pandemic, right? And Disney Plus gets all the kids' attention. So they're like, well, we can make our own streaming service. So they did.
Stop.
It's called Answers.tv. It launched today, May 1st. And there's no way I was not one of the first subscribers.
Tell me you got like a free trial at least.
I did get a free trial, and it was still too expensive. And
because it costs you your time, your precious time,
precious seconds. I'll walk you through what you're gonna find if you want to pay the $4.99 a month subscription.
Cannot stress that enough. But go ahead.
Mostly, I mean, look, this is mostly a chance for Answers in Genesis to just slap all their content somewhere where people might pay for it. Because YouTube isn't really their jam. No one's really watching there.
Before you tell me what's on Answers in Genesis, I just want to kind of give my perspective of my understanding of what Answers in Genesis is versus what I understand like major streaming productions to be. So when I log on to a Hulu, a Netflix, Amazon Prime, I'm expecting to have a wide array of choices of fiction and nonfiction broadcasting to watch of all different kinds of things that I can entertain myself or my parents or my hypothetical children.
Right.
My understanding of Answers in Genesis is it's always just that sort of shot of two people behind a table taking calls.
You're talking about Answers News, their YouTube call, like news show. Where it's just,
there's more to it than that.
There's a little more to it because Ken Ham, the head creationist, does a lot of lectures, and that's kind of the thing they put out there. Creationist lectures.
Brother, he can't do $5 worth of lectures per month.
Well, you said a thing like when you log on to Netflix, the thing that anyone would be paying for is this wide array, right? Well, when you're talking about these people who are in completely anti-choice, like that extends to everything they do. So
no, that was a bad show.
You're welcome. So they don't. It's just their content. It's Ken Ham's lectures. It's the other creationist lectures. It's the homeschooling curriculum videos that they've made over the years.
It's like the worst iteration of the TED Talk app.
Oh, yeah. So, like, okay, Bill Nye and Ken Ham did their debate like 6 years ago, and he's still been flogging that for years. Like, Bill Nye moved on 1 week after that was done and moved on to other projects. Ken Ham is still milking this debate. Well, he put
what year was that?
2014. Well, he slapped I don't mind that he put the debate up there because it's like the biggest thing that draws people to them. I'm sure one of the things, but it says uncensored science. Bill Nye debates Ken Ham.
Okay, I saw that tweet.
Yeah.
What does uncensored mean?
It means nothing. I looked at what they were putting out there. It's just a 2.5-hour debate from start to finish.
At no point, nobody says like, actually, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, no one takes off anything. There is nothing here that is new or different or uncensored about. It's not that anything was ever censored.
Right.
So what are you doing? But okay, that's the one thing I'm like,
here's where I'm going to disagree with you. Yeah. The thing that the internet and streaming services are lacking are two white guys arguing about something kind of ethereal and not specific. I think that's the problem.
You literally just described Twitter. Okay, here's one I did not know I was going to encounter, because like I knew the debate would be on there. They had a young woman who did this, let's say, mini-series. I think that's generous, but she did like a series of videos, and I think here's what they're going for. Let's get a young woman in front of the camera who globetrots and is like a missionary and visits other countries, and she will document her journey. That's the premise.
Can this be the next step in the Friendly Atheist podcast, that you just send me around the world and I just like, hey, I'm a white person in places. Ever heard of that?
I'll pull out all of my podcasting money there. And, yeah. So here's the thing though. Like, one episode was the one where she visits a college evolution class. But wait.
What?
But wait.
Okay.
Here's the description, the teaser text under the episode. As a Christian student attending secular university.
She's a student? How old is she?
Well, she's a college age. She's a Christian student attending secular university. We don't learn the name. I had every reason to be nervous after reading the professor's first email. Any student who rejected evolutionary human origins, the letter stated, should reconsider taking the class. What kind of war zone was I about to enter?
She's so brave.
I know,
so brave. She's like
brave.
the Joan of Arc of the 21st century.
So I was thinking, okay, interesting. What is she going to do? Hidden camera her way into a lecture hall and like expose this class? No, it's just her sitting and talking to the camera and saying
like
exactly yes. And not recapping. Recapping is generous. Recapping would be, here's what they taught me, but here's why it's wrong because I'm a creationist. She didn't do that. It's just like, they tried teaching evolution, but I spoke to a creationist and they steered me back on the right track. I'm like, that was like a 10-minute episode. And I'm like, well.
So again, not to like.
There are many episodes of this.
Anybody who watched that could have just watched a TED Talk and been like, this is what
you could have seen it on YouTube, which is what I don't get. I'm like, that I get why if you were the student, I'm not even knocking her because like she didn't do anything wrong here. I'm not knocking her. If she put that up on YouTube saying this is my journey, I'd be like, whatever, not for me. I don't care. But this makes it sound like Answers in Genesis paid this girl to take her little trips everywhere. And all it is her saying like, yes, I went to Africa and I Christianed my way everywhere. And then the episode ends and it's like, I got nothing out of it. Okay. They had the teaser image, the graphic for another show. It was called The Homosexual War, a Biblical View with a Pride Flag. And I'm like, well, all right. Now this documentary, this should be good. Nope. It's just another lecture that someone was giving about the gay.
Oh, God damn it.
But the teaser text said they'll challenge us how to reconsider how we should engage in the homosexual war that has been thrust upon us. Okay, another lecture because they had a whole. You know how like Netflix has action, adventure,
sure,
like whatever drama.
We call it genres in the industry.
Genres. Their genres on Answers TV is like lectures, kids. That's kind of it. But one of they actually had a science section, which made me laugh, because here's what one of their science section videos are. It would have been funny if, just as a Easter egg for me, they just left it empty. But here's another lecture they had. Does science support a flat Earth? It was a lecture where a creationist...
Tell me everything.
A creationist is saying those people are science deniers and they are ridiculous. And he said it with a straight face.
Okay.
That was a real thing. Wait, I didn't get to my favorite.
I'm not.
thing.
No, don't you move on until I've addressed this.
Yes. They're making fun of the flat Earth.
You said it and I let it wash over me, and I don't think I and digested it the way it deserved. So these creationists are calling scientists science deniers?
They're calling... Well, they do call scientists science deniers because they're doing the science wrong. But they're also calling flat earthers science deniers because why would you believe in a flat Earth? There's nothing realistic about that. And they say this with a straight face.
Rooted in biblical?
It can be, but the ones who are online and on YouTube and spreading the conspiracy theory don't do it based on the Bible. They do it based on facts, such as when I'm looking at a ship going further, falls off.
I have plugged this before, and I will plug this until the day I die. On Ona, Ross, and Carrie, there's a whole series that they talk to flat earthers, one specifically where Ross goes to, I think it's called the Salton Lake or something like that he goes with a bunch of flat earthers to conduct an experiment on this is a flat lake, and if it goes this far, if X happens, then it proves Y. And then X happened, and they're like,
so hard.
Actually, no, because
they want to be like scientists, but they have no knowledge of what that means.
Well, but here's my thought on this kind of thing, and I feel like what we're going through right now with this COVID thing is sort of it's really analogous.
Not even close.
Analogous?
No, but I am enjoying this.
And wait, it's an analogy. Analogous.
Not even.
No, it's analogous. What is it? Say it.
Analogous.
Okay. Fuck you.
Jeopardy champ, baby.
Similar to what we're dealing with now.
Right.
Fuck.
With COVID.
I hate being stupid on this podcast. To COVID. Because it is people who say they are pro-science, but do not trust scientists.
Right.
Because for whatever reason, they, and I think somewhat rightly so, they say science should be able to be recreated. And so if this is true, I should be able to prove that it's true, which is fair. Until you realize that, you don't have population studies the way scientists do. There's just something wild about being pro quote-unquote science, but anti-scientists. That is a bananas way to look at the world.
Yes. Okay, so my favorite thing on the entire Answers TV was they had a kids section, and they had N is for Noah, which is a 3-minute video, 5-minute video of running through the alphabet. A is for this, B is for this, but telling the Noah's Ark story.
Any of this?
Hell no! I'm trying to not dumb them down. But I was watching through it, and most of it's kids in the video saying A is for Adam doing whatever. Okay, whatever.
B is for Bethlehem.
Stuff like that. Here's an actual...
the camel that brought...
Here's an actual one.
Jesus.
K is for K.
Oh, K is in Kevin.
Yeah. K is for new. Knew. K is for new.
We knew that God wasn't real because we read history books?
Yes. I think they were referring to the tree of knowledge in Adam and Eve, but K is
fucking knowledge then, Hammett.
I would have made the same argument then, which is if the only reason you would do this alphabet thing is to try to teach kids C is for cat because it has the same sound. If you say K is for new, your kids are confused. It's so against the point of what you're trying to do, even if it's technically correct.
Hemant, this is you talking as a parent, and I've never related to you less.
Okay, wait. But I kept going in that same episode.
For knowledge, because new, I would argue,
knowledge
is terrible.
Also would not
also bad.
Work. Yes, it's bad.
Okay, you talk. I'm going to think of a better K word.
Kangaroo. You have fucking Noah. Put a kangaroo on the ark. K is for kangaroo. We're done. Move on.
Okay. But they can't. But they really struggle with kangaroos and things like that only exist on Australia because.
Oh no, they made their way to the ark. Oh yeah, that's how they all just flew there magically. Okay, wait. X.
Wait. Let me guess.
Yes.
Usually it's X-ray on shit that I've seen, but I'm going to say X is for Deus Ex Machina because they don't want those kids to be lazy storytellers.
X is for explode.
Hey, Hemant, explode doesn't start with X.
Don't worry.
Also, what does explode have to do with the Bible?
I don't know.
The Big Bang?
But no, there's literally a guy holding what I can imagine is like a wooden plank to make a pyramid. I don't get why it's explode, but they made the word explode in lowercase letters in the graphic on screen, but X was capitalized.
Well, sure.
So it's X is for explode. And then I think they realized their mistake because in another video they did X.
That's in the Bible.
They did X is in extensive. And they did the same thing with the capital X.
Sorry, I'm not going to teach a 2-year-old the word extensive. That feels like an uphill battle.
It's like they have no idea how to educate children is my point. And then in the Adam and Eve story, because they're rhyming stuff, but at some point they literally had this screen that said, brothers and sisters could marry. That's true. And that's the second half of a couplet. But also,
what? Wait,
we're just plugging incest. $4.99 a month for Answers TV.
Literally, it says brothers can marry sisters
because they're trying to explain where Adam and Eve's kids found wives.
Oh, here's the thing. I didn't consider if Adam and Eve were married and they were the only humans, where did their kids find spouses? I didn't consider that until I was in my 20s. So if I'm 3.
And the answer is incest. That's what Ken Ham wants to teach the kids. I mean, it's not like they put a smiley face or a wink after it. They just put it out there.
See, that is what I would call an unforced error.
The whole thing is unforced error. So that was my foray into Answers TV, and then I canceled my free trial.
Yikes. How long? Is that a week trial or a month trial, bud?
It is a week trial. I do have it for like another 5 days.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Maybe okay. So I know we're supposed to watch whatever garbage
Kirk Cameron
movie. I would not be opposed to watching something off that and recording a podcast about that.
The weird thing is, other than the lectures, which are like an hour and a half or something,
fuck that noise.
All the other shows that they have are pretty quick. They're like 8 minutes long. It feels, these are all YouTube videos that clearly didn't get any traction on YouTube, so they slapped them on here. By the way, and you can tell from the coding, if you go to Netflix, it's clearly like Netflix content. Like you can't just download it from Netflix, right? All of the Answers TV content is Vimeo videos that they just embedded on the site, but it's not. So
it's not like they even. So the entire point of having a streaming platform, the entire point of making money on a streaming platform is you
can't get it anywhere else.
Yeah, you have the sole
like proprietary stuff.
Proprietary, yes, yeah. Exactly.
And I mean, it's not Vimeo that like I can download or share the link or anything. It is specially embedded on the site, but still, I'm just like, you just put your Vimeo videos on here, and most of the content's on YouTube anyway. Okay, anyway.
Do you want to give an over-under on how long that's going to last?
They said a donor paid for it. Like a donor wanted to see them do it and gave them the money they needed to build the infrastructure for the website. Like Ken Ham said this on the website. So I don't know who the donor is and how much money they got. But as long as that guy's paying for it, here's what I don't think is going to happen. I can't imagine they're going to get the money you need to sustain a site like that on its own. Because even for creationists, I'm not sure what you're finding there that you can't already find on their website or through other means.
Well, and if it was I guess the best case scenario would be like if it was a Christian children's channel, because I know, especially right now, parents are looking for a lot of content to occupy their kids with, because they don't have friends they can hang out with. So it would make sense that they're like, okay, we have VeggieTales writ large, like, right? We have VeggieTales,
if you buy the content, the only thing that they brought in from outside are Ray Comfort's preaching videos, which are 10 minutes, and they're all like him doing man on the street interviews. Like, anyone who's listening to this, I'm sure has seen him on YouTube. But like, that's it. That's the only outside thing they brought.
You know what I was just thinking about the other day is when we talked about Ray Comfort's movie that I can't remember the name.
The anti-gay one?
Yeah.
That featured people who were pro-gay rights?
Yes. And we talked about it on this show, and we trashed it, and then we interviewed one of the actors who I still talk to once in a while.
Yeah.
And Ray Comfort sent me via you a package of a fruit, housewarming package, basically.
Yeah.
And they were, I swear to Christ, the best fucking pears I've ever had in my life. So what I'm saying is, can we drag him more so he'll send me more pears? Because they were genuinely very, and I thanked him on Twitter. It didn't have a passive aggressive note unless you took it out before you gave it to me.
No.
Genuinely really good fruit.
I have played middleman for Ken Ham's fruit baskets many a time. I don't mind. I will say, of all the people we mock, he's one of the few that is genuinely easy to reach and easy to talk to. There's not a lot of them.
Yes.
Anyway.
And I was going to say he's not a bad guy. I don't know what it means to be a bad guy anymore. I just don't fucking know. But listen, anyone who sends me fucking really good, I cannot stress this is not very good pears.
So I swear, there are other things I wanted to talk about today, but that one was just the most amusing. Okay, here's one that is totally serious. And I didn't see this coming, but Canada. There's a custody battle over kids. Mom and dad, we don't know who they are. They go by initials in court documents, so we don't know who they are.
The parents and the kids do?
Correct. So they're all anonymous to me. But here's what we know in this case. There are two. They must have gotten married a while ago. They had 3 kids. All 3 of them are under the age of 5.
Oof.
Yeah, so they're young and now they're getting divorced. Okay, fine, that happens. That's between them. The question that they could not, I guess, figure out is who gets to decide the religious upbringing of these kids. Because if you can't settle on that yourselves, then the court needs to decide that for you. And it turns out
be the first time this has come up.
No, it turns out both of them were Christian when they got married, and they both still are. But a couple of years ago, like in 2015, the dad started watching Steven Anderson and Roger Jimenez, who are those independent fundamentalist Baptist preachers. You'll know Steven Anderson if you see his videos. But these are the guys who say things like, I'm quoting Anderson here, if you executed the homos like God recommends, you wouldn't have all this AIDS running rampant. He said...
I'm going to be honest, this was the opposite direction I thought we were going to be going. I defo thought it was going to be Christian versus atheist.
No, I know. No. Anderson has also said that... I'm sorry, Jimenez, his acolyte, has also said, after the Pulse nightclub massacre, he told his congregation that the real tragedy, quote, was that more of them didn't die.
Oh, fuck.
Anderson, by the way, goes around the world preaching.
Evil.
He's been banned from 34 countries for hate speech. Can't step foot in their countries.
You said he's Canadian?
Anderson is not. Anderson and Jimenez are in the U.S. But Dad, this Canadian dad, started watching their videos in 2015. Got brainwashed, basically. He's part of their cult now. And so this is the point of contention between the mom and him. She is, let's just say, straight up regular Christian. He's just crazy, brainwashed, anti-gay, I think gay people need to be executed Christian. And this is the problem, because she says he cannot have religious say in what happens to our kids because he's gonna like mess them up. Sure. And so this is what a judge had to decide. By the way, in addition to the anti-gay stuff, these guys, the independent fundamentalist Baptist preachers, they also think a woman's place is in the home. She should just cook, clean, obey her husband at all times, things like that. By the way,
they got divorced. This sounds like a really cool person to be married to.
I should add, all of those IFB people say, we would never kill gay people. We want the government to do it. We would never do it, though. So they are like,
murder somebody, but if they died, we would throw a parade.
Right. So anyway, 2018, they got separated. Now they're trying to figure out the religious upbringing. So here's what the judge, and again, Canadian law, I don't know Canadian law. This is in British Columbia in the Chilliwack Provincial Court. The judge basically said, you know what? I'm letting the mom make 100% of the religious decisions because he's crazy. She's not. Okay. So she gets to do it. And she said, this isn't about religious discrimination. She actually said, and I'm paraphrasing here, she doesn't actually care, legally speaking, what the dad believes. He has a right to believe whatever it is he wants to believe. The question is, what is in the kid's best interest? And she said, if the kids listened to their father and adopted his faith positions, they would become social outcasts. And I guess in the courtroom, she even asked the dad, like, and again, I'm paraphrasing, she's like, do you have any friends? And the dad's like, nope. Pretty much when I joined this IFB people, all my friends kind of went away.
No.
And so basically, I mean, that's an honest answer, but she's like, well, yeah, all your friends are running away because you're insane. And I don't want that to happen to your kids. And by the way, she also said, she asked him, I think too, like, well, if we gave you alone time with the kids because you're their father, are you going to preach to them? Because you cannot, because this ruling says mom. And of course he is. And he said he would. So they also said, you're not allowed to see the kids alone. You have like a 2-hour window once a week when you can like go to some neutral place like a McDonald's, which is not weird. Like you can go to McDonald's and see the kids. Your wife is there as well, so she can monitor you.
So the wife is there. It's not like a third party?
Right. Okay. Like they're fine. They can deal with their kids. They'll get along. But I was fascinated by this idea that like, wow, he's so brainwashed into Christianity, he will not get to see his kids again. And what I haven't seen yet, but I'm expecting it, is any of those IFB people trying to argue this is a case of Christian persecution.
Sure. Yeah, God, that's...
Isn't that weird? I've never seen a story like that. Because again, just like you, never. I thought it would be an atheist and a Christian arguing over custody.
Sure, and it's wild.
Or religious upbringing, I should say. Yeah.
Well, and it's wild because there is no, and I can only speak for what I can only speak for what I assume the a U.S. court would do, but I can't imagine a world in which parents were raising their kids together to be like homophobic or racist or whatever, and the courts to step in and say like, you're gonna fuck up your kids, which I would argue is true. Yeah. But also I very much understand like it's your kids, like do what you want to with them, because that's a very slippery slope, right?
That's exactly right. And all the laws are different state to state, so it could vary. And again, I'm not suggesting I know the legal differences here, but you're right. That's part of the reason I was surprised by what this judge ruled, because I haven't seen that in the U.S., whether or not it's
allowed. Do you think the judge ruled correctly?
As far as I could tell from the news stories written about it, like a judge saying, here's what I'm deciding should happen in regards to religious upbringing, because I'm only looking out for the kid's best interest. Mm-hmm. You can rationalize that however you want to rationalize that. No one I read suggested this was religious discrimination. No one suggested she was attacking the father for his beliefs, other than saying, look, your beliefs are your beliefs. I'm not getting in the way of that, but it will have a negative impact on the kids, just as if name your sin and name your vice. Sure. If the dad did that, that's going to hurt the kids. Then we got to take that into consideration.
An unpopular
do it. We'll never use it against you. Give us your opinion.
It's hard. Okay. obviously, I think homophobia is abhorrent, right?
Yes.
How
tread carefully.
I'm treading extraordinarily carefully. I just don't know how a court can decide what a parent is allowed to impart on their own child. And I'm thinking of that in terms of like, okay, say Mikey and I have a kid and we split up and all of a sudden he's like super Christian and I'm an atheist. Could that come back and bite me in the ass of saying like, oh, well, you don't believe in God. Like, what are you teaching your children? And
and by the way, obviously,
I'm saying that like teaching your kids homophobia is wrong. And I cannot stress that enough.
Right.
But there's something to the idea of like, if you have kids with a partner and you disagree on world philosophies, shouldn't that be between like, shouldn't they spend a weekend with their shitty dad and then they come back and say, well, dad says like God hates fags or whatever, and you say, actually, here's, your Aunt Leah and your Aunt Amanda, they're great people. This is what gay people are. They're not, you know what I mean? Like,
in the US, it's different, and I have seen stories.
It makes me a little uncomfortable that a court would step in on that.
I have seen stories in the US where an atheist parent gets that used against them, but usually it's because that becomes a story, because you can't do that.
Yeah, but okay, I'm talking to myself at this point. But like, if Mike, so if you and your wife split up and your wife all of a sudden became a white supremacist,
right?
I think there would absolutely be cause. Oh, right? Would there? I don't know.
Legal question. Someone lawyer.
Have I had too much wine to like discuss what like child rearing politics should be? Unclear.
I know. Work out your white supremacy issues before the kids come in is the moral of this story.
I guess you're right. I guess that's what I should. Maybe Mikey and I should talk a little more about whether brown people are below us.
There you go.
We have children.
All right. Here's a question for you. Yes. What is the greatest mistake in the history of humanity?
Slavery.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Try again. You get one more guess.
Creating cars that are based on gasoline that just like all things that travel are deeply destroying our environment. And if we had made a better decision up top, we could have done better now.
I'm imagining like a Family Feud board and they flip the thing and you just ruin the entire board.
Okay, no, I'm going to keep going. No, you have to go. Good answer.
Yes, good try.
No, I'm going to do another one.
You get one quick one.
Okay. Ready?
Biggest mistake in humanity.
Women's suffrage.
Closer.
Okay.
Dennis Prager, the conservative who does PragerU on YouTube, which is not a U, it's just propaganda for conservatives. He says the lockdown is the greatest mistake in the history of humanity. The COVID lockdown.
I'm laughing Inhuman Woman, but that's fine.
Mm-hmm. That's it. It's trying to stay inside. In the history of ever, self-quarantining in the wake of a pandemic is the worst mistake ever.
Can we talk about the Venn diagram of people who have bunkers full of canned foods and AR-15s and the people who have been at home for 5 weeks and haven't gotten a haircut and are complaining about it, and how that's a circle?
Oh my God.
The worst. So
thing.
Right now, so I have gone to the
PragerU
once every 2 weeks. I have walked outside some. I've hung out with my husband and my dog. I FaceTimed with everybody I love. And that is worse than...
Yep. Than slavery, the Holocaust, taking the wrong turn and getting the Archduke shot in World War I, like the driver of the car.
Tuskegee experiment, worse than the Holocaust.
Which makes you wonder what goes on in the history classes at PragerU.
That's the thing. It really truly is a thing I think about all the time when people go like way over the top about like relatively minor inconveniences.
All those like right-wing atheist / libertarian / I'm a classical liberal, but
wait,
I'm
right-wing
secretly
atheists. Who the fuck are those assholes?
You one day I'll introduce you to Twitter. They exist.
I don't.
There's a bunch of those people who are like they use the word woke in a sentence, as if, and they're like feminism goes too far, and hey, Me Too went crazy. Like those people, they love Dennis Prager.
Hey, Hammett, just really quick, could you give me a percentage of how many of these people are white men?
They are 100%.
Okay. That's what I suspected, but I just wanted to double check.
Just to clarify. This is a totally different story. I just wanted to bring it up because
that's the end of that story?
That's it. It was one tweet and it was the dumbest thing ever, and it's Dennis Prager, so I'm not even surprised. Okay, that's it.
That's fine. That's fine.
Nigeria. There is a atheist activist named Mubarak Bala. He's the president of the Humanist Association of Nigeria. He's one of these guys, as far as I can tell, because I don't know him. I have not talked to him, but he's one of those guys that says a lot of provocative things on Facebook about religion. And so
provocative, it makes me deeply uncomfortable. Is it provocative like a thing that you and I would say, or is it like trying to toe the line?
Like one of those, I'm going to make fun of Islam and Christianity by being a big dick about the stuff they believe. Like, it's not enough to say God doesn't exist. It's like, your God is a rapist. That sort of thing. He posts a lot of that stuff online, which, again, not my thing.
I think it takes all kinds, right? Like, I think some people need that kind of shit. They need that sort of slap in the face of, like, if you read the Bible in this way, God is a rapist or whatever. I think for some people they need that kind of like splash of cold water.
I think it has an appeal for those people who have never heard any religious criticism at all. So when someone says this, it feels like, oh, you're saying something brave.
Sure.
When it just feels like a cheap shot because you just said it's like a stand-up comedian who swears. It's like you didn't really do anything. You just think you're being edgy. But meh. Anyway, I don't actually care about what he writes. The point is, this is kind of his thing on his Facebook page. And I guess he said, and I'm quoting, he said something like Prophet Muhammad is a terrorist. So, like, that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. And of course, people complained about it. But here's the thing I want to get at. I don't care about what he said because people say things I don't love all the time.
I would say almost constantly.
Yeah. He was arrested. And he was arrested by police in his area of Nigeria.
He's still in Nigeria, okay.
And he's basically handed over to police where they could theoretically say he just committed an act of blasphemy. And it's one of those things where, depending on where you live in Nigeria, that could be punishable by death. Now, is
that still a thing in Nigeria?
In parts of Nigeria, yes.
Fuck, okay.
So it kind of depends. Like, where he was arrested is not one of those places, but they handed him over to police in a part of Nigeria where that is a thing.
Sure.
So right now, the question is, no one knows what's going to happen to this guy because it's so the entire reason I bring this up is it's very much up in the air. There are groups working on it. There are fundraisers for it in order to help him with lawyers and legal fees to work through all of this. Like the Center for Inquiry issued a statement, many groups did, but Center for Inquiry issued a statement just saying beliefs don't need protection, people do. Ideas don't need rights, people do. They're standing in solidarity with the organizations. None of the groups that are defending him are like, we love what he said, we support it. It's more about his right to say it. And again, saying things that are provocative are not a reason to be imprisoned or executed. So anyway, I wanted to bring that up only because we'll post a link so you could learn more about the case. If you want to donate to his legal fund, there are ways to do that in ways that I would trust because I trust the groups doing it. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. Let me go.
That's scary.
Let me go to a more serious. Well, not more serious. Let me go to a different story that
more serious than a guy being put to death.
I don't think I could do that.
Hammett.
Yeah. This came as a shock to me because there is a school in Ohio, Cedarville University, near Dayton. It's a fundamentalist Christian school. Nothing weird there. There's a bunch of those around. But okay, Cedarville University. Here's the story told from one perspective. Okay. A couple of years ago, the guy who runs the school, his name is Dr. Anthony Moore, the guy who runs the school hired a guy named Dr. Anthony Moore. And he said, we want to hire you as a recruiter, which all colleges have. Like, go to high schools, find seniors who may want to come here and sell them the school, right? We want them to give us tuition. So bring them here. They liked him. They liked Dr. Anthony Moore. They liked the job he was doing. So later, they gave him a job as a theology professor. Because, whatever, you can just do that. Yeah. He also was a basketball coach. He was a special advisor on diversity. He played a lot of different roles at Cedarville.
Really quick. Special advisor on diversity. Tell me he's not white.
He is black, yes.
Okay.
So, okay. All right, they hired him. Everything seems to be going fine. Here's what no one really knew. Where did this guy come from all of a sudden? Do we know that? And if you talk to the faculty members at the school, they will say, well, we heard he was working at a church in Texas and they basically fired him. Maybe, I think what I'm paraphrasing here, they fired him for committing a sin. And that's kind of all they were told. And that could be anything. And, when we talk
about honor thy father or whatever,
something like that, it's who knows
what that was? He just talked shit about his dad and fired him. Or was that it?
Or maybe I don't know if they said this to the faculty. I need to read through this. I know.
Went shopping on Sunday.
They said. Yeah. He was fired because of a sin issue that made him unfit for ministry. And this is what the church said when they fired him. And the thing is, the way they phrased it, it made it sound like he did something gay. Okay, so if that's the thing, you could argue that maybe the church said, look, this guy had a relationship with somebody. We can't have him be a pastor at our church. They fired him. That to me seems that wasn't really a problem or anything. Sure. So the fact that a school picked him up and said, well, come work for us.
He had an affair or something that was a little more untoward, but not.
Then you could understand the school saying, look, if you repent, we forgive you. Come, we'll give you a second chance.
And I'm sorry, is this new? I'm sure you said it, but is this new university? It's Christian or it's just
totally Christian school, private Christian fundamentalist, we teach creationism here school.
Gotcha.
Okay. So that was in 2017. No one knew why he got fired because the church didn't tell anybody. Mm-hmm. Finds this new job. He's gone on trips with students. He taught a class called Counseling and Mentoring Men. It's all good. He teaches a bunch of things. Okay. Here's what we found out this week because now it's all gone public. Why was this guy fired, Dr. Anthony Moore? Why was he fired from the church? Because
nervous.
Wait for it. I guess there was a youth pastor at the church who he's you can, I guess, just stop by my house or whatever. It's fine. And the youth pastor took a shower at the guy's place, which is not weird. Come over if you need to freshen up. That's fine. You can use my shower. That's not a big deal. But Anthony Moore apparently stuck his camera in the window well to record the whole thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, videotaped a guy in the shower without him knowing about it. Did it 5 separate times.
Same guy?
Same guy.
I just woke up my dog. I hit the tape
You're welcome.
Too hard.
And here's the thing. So when the church fires this guy, they tell the congregation, we fired him over a sin issue. They don't say anything else. So
it's almost like if you work for a Christian university or a church or something like that, some things should be pulled into the law as opposed to just dealt with quote unquote within the church, which is code for we're just going to shuffle this boy around and he can fuck with somebody else and ruin their life.
It wasn't a legal issue because the victim in this case, the one by the way, the guy who was in the shower, he's the one who saw the camera. And I believe,
Why isn't this a legal issue?
The guy never pressed charges. That's why it's not a legal issue. But the victim said he saw the camera and then he realized what was going on, that he was being videotaped. He went through the phone because the phone was on and unlocked. And basically, wait. He sent himself the videos that had been taken as evidence for himself, right? So he's like, no, I swear this happened. So I'm totally with the victim here. But then he's like, I don't want to press charges. Maybe because it's a church thing. I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen. Fuck, that sucks.
Oh, wait. I'm so not done. There's more.
Oh, okay. Keep going, then I'll say my piece.
Yeah. So the school hires Anthony Moore. All this story now, what he did, it all comes out. And here's the bombshell that really happens. It turns out Dr. Thomas White, who is the Cedarville president, the college president who hired this guy, knew all this when he hired him. Yeah, that's the bombshell that we found out this week. And White, the president, put out a blog post where he basically said, and I'm quoting you here, "Don't take a sip of wine while I'm doing this." Yep. On April 22nd, 2020, I learned that I did not have all the information about the original incident.
Okay.
Instead of, at most, 2 videos, I heard there were at least 5. ... Think about that one for a second. So he was apparently okay with the 2 videos of this guy in the shower, but 3, 4, 5? What?
Here's the thing. Yeah. You know that my sort of political and social and emotional baseline is that men are monsters.
Yes.
I am 34 years old, and every day I search for stories and people to disprove that.
Yes.
And once a week, I talk to your dumbass.
Yes.
And here I fucking am. Between you and Am I the Asshole on Reddit, which is the best thing on the internet. What a fucking... I just...
Yep.
The... God, and you said this guy's black?
Yep, I'll give you more.
So that actually steps off from me saying, like, white guys can get away with anything.
Right.
I mean, fuck me. Like, is it a Christian thing? Like, why?
It's a Southern Baptist thing for damn sure. By the way, Cedarville's Board of Trustees, when this guy was hired, included Paige Patterson, who we've talked about on this podcast, because he's the guy who told an alleged rape victim who came to him and told him, this guy at campus, he said, avoid the police, forgive the rapist. He's one of the trustees. By the way, so one of the Cedarville professors, unrelated to any of this, they're like, hey, what did they tell you when they hired this guy? Here's what an anonymous faculty member told Christianity Today. At no point was I given enough information by Moore to assume sexual abuse or manipulation was involved. Like, no one had any idea this was the problem.
Wait, so they knew that the videos existed.
No, they did not know that.
They didn't know okay.
They knew he committed a sin. And that was kind of it, which again, it applies to everybody. They didn't.
That's the fucking problem. When you say something's a sin, then me kissing a woman and me murdering somebody are both sins.
Yep. This is Russell L. Meek, who was writing at Religion News Service, who is a Christian as well. He said, the big problems here are, why did the college president hire this guy? Why allow that person to be around students? And if students need to be protected, don't they have a right to know? He said, I want to quote this because it was really good. Making a biblical reference here. The restoration plan, which is, we wanted to restore Anthony Moore after his sin. That's what White told everybody. The restoration plan did not leave the 99 sheep to go after the one, as Jesus taught. No, their plan abandoned the 99 by welcoming into the fold the one. And it abandoned the one by welcoming him into the exact sort of environment that facilitated his previous crime. Like,
I don't understand biblical metaphors.
The story is always
about sheep, and I don't fucking get it.
You want to go save the one that can be saved. Go get that one sheep. That's not a bad thing, but you basically put the other 99 at risk by getting that guy, which is a fair thing. Now, yesterday, I think, or maybe today, the school issued another press release saying, look, they already fired Moore. That happened earlier this week. Today, they announced
because they found out his past indiscretions? Okay.
Yeah. They fired him. I don't know what the right term for it is. Suspended, long-term, whatever. Today, they put the school's president, they suspended him. while they do an investigation to find out how much did he know and was his decision making right. But holy hell, that was an insane story.
At least there's consequences for the people who did. Like, I feel like every story we tell is this story, and then the end of the story is like, yeah, so the guy's teaching over at like Miami University of Ohio. So like, see you never, nerd.
Yeah. We got some.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it's nothing. It's everything I have said for the last fucking 5 years that we've recorded this podcast.
Yeah. I have a bunch more stories, but I want to try to wrap up in 10 minutes. But let's see if I can do some quick.
Go to bed? Nerd.
The kids will be back up for their midnight. We want food. Or whatever it is.
You have to lock them in their rooms, I don't own children.
Yeah. Here's marriage rates. This week, the National Center for Health Statistics revealed, and they work for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, government or agency. They said marriage rates right now are lower than they've ever been. There are only 6.5 marriages per 1,000 people, and we haven't seen that since like 1900. They weren't saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. They're just saying.
Can you give me context in terms of when are these numbers from?
Just whatever survey they did.
I'm just wondering if it's pre-COVID or post-COVID.
Pre-COVID. It was
pre-COVID or present.
Like
COVID.
has nothing to do.
COVID.
Has nothing to do with COVID. They're saying just fewer people are getting married today than ever before. So
yeah, that makes fucking sense.
It does make a lot of sense. Here's the question: why is it happening? Name a few reasons.
Fucking nothing. Okay. As a married person.
No monologue. You got to give me like 5 quick reasons.
Okay.
Why are marriages not happening?
Weddings are expensive.
Go on.
Cohabitation is morally fine for 90% of human beings.
I don't need to get married, right? We're living together. Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
We know divorce rate is relatively high. And so it makes sense
to get married at all.
Why get married if there's a chance that we're going to split up? We don't want to deal with a lawyer. Women don't feel like it's necessary to marry the first guy they fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Women have jobs and can pay for their own housing. And so they don't feel like they need a man to, house them.
Yep. I would add to that. That's fine. I would add, like, it's harder to find stable jobs, harder to build a career, pay off student debt. So it's harder to get situated to a point where you can get married.
So you don't want to blend your financial issues with another human person, which is 1,000% fair.
And it's not any one of these things. It's all of these things happening at the same time.
All of the things.
No wonder. So what did Pastor Robert Jeffress say? He's like a Trump MAGA supporting guy. What was the reason he gave for why marriage rates are lower than ever?
It has to be because women are cunts. Like, that's...
That is not his quotation.
No?
No.
Am I in the neighborhood?
He blamed the legalization of gay marriage. He said... Let me quote you the whole thing.
That necessarily raises the number of marriages that are happening. No. That's how numbers work.
You know how to do basic math. He does not. And here's what he actually said. Whenever you counterfeit something, you cheapen the value of the real thing.
Honestly, like...
I apologize. I got to read you the rest of this quotation.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry.
And if you expand marriage to basically any definition you want, 2 men, 2 women, 3 men, and a woman. I mean, if marriage is what you want it to be, why bother to get married at all? Unquote.
It's so buck wild to me that... so I am married. I'm in my mid-30s. Many of my friends are married. Some of them are not, who are in heterosexual or homosexual long-term relationships. But I can tell you right fucking now that none of the weddings I've officiated, none of my friends who have gotten married whose weddings I've stood up with, none of them have considered whether they wanted to marry their partner based on whether other human people can get married in any, like, genuinely, the fragility of these people to say, like, well, I'm not going to marry this human woman I love because that guy can marry another man and also another woman, which, P.S., not legal. It's not a thing that can happen.
But I was wondering to myself,
has fucking buck wild, like, it's this weird thing that they have of saying, like, it's me against the world, and for some reason everybody's like decisions, like people who are Republican or right leaning are very like individualist, right? Of like, I do whatever I want, you do whatever you want, unless you're getting married, and that like sours my marriage or something. Can you
somehow
hear talking in her sleep?
Yes. I was looking, like, has there ever been any case of like a Christian couple that said, I was gonna get married, but like then the gays got married? And I found one, and I think we talked about it. In like 2015 in Australia, they were taking like the postal vote on like whether there should be marriage equality.
Yes, I remember this.
There was a Christian couple that said, we've been married for 10 years, but if gay people are allowed to get married, we're gonna get a divorce.
I remember this.
And then, like, gay people had that right to marry, and they're like, we're still gonna stay married.
It honestly, like, 2020 has been the fucking wildest year that's ever happened, and it's really shone a light on people who are these like rugged individualists. Until they get the slightest inconvenience.
And then all hell breaks loose.
Like, oh my God.
Let me make sure I get to this one too, because this is a new story that will be out, I think, tonight or tomorrow. There's so much COVID research being done right now, trying to develop a vaccine, trying to get to the bottom of how to prevent this, the spread of it.
How it spreads, what symptoms, yeah.
Yeah, there's a doctor at the Kansas City Heart Rhythm Institute, which I don't know.
That with sarcasm, so I assume I'm not going to like this doctor.
Well, because I can't tell if that's a legit place or not, but he seems a regular cardiologist, whatever. He just launched a 4-month study of COVID patients to find out if strangers praying for them will make a difference in their recovery. He said...
No.
In this trial. Now, here's the good news about this. Let's say there's 1,000 patients. No, listen. No. There's 1,000 patients.
Do not tell me to listen, Hemet.
There's 1,000 patients. They're all going to be treated and dealt with the same way. They don't even know they're part of this experiment, basically. So they'll all get the treatment they want. But half of them, according to this doctor, half of the patients randomly chosen will receive a universal prayer offered in Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Judaism, and Buddhism. The other 500 will not. And we will see if the first group fares any better. And again, I just want to make this clear. If you are religious...
The dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Exactly it. If you're in the hospital and you're religious and you pray, studies have shown you may actually benefit from that because you're at ease, you're comforted by yourself, and that makes you feel better. And if your parents say, hey, we're praying for you, or your friends or your loved ones say, we're praying for you, that will make you feel better.
And also that necessitates that you have family and friends who are there comforting you. So
exactly. But when my phone just logged off, but I'll finish this up here. My phone ran out of batteries. But I was saying that when strangers pray for you, when strangers are praying for you and you don't know they're praying for you, that's a completely different issue that has never been shown to work. And this is a study that's been done like before in other situations, and it's never happened. So this guy's testing a thing called intercessory prayer. It's useless. That's all I'm going with. I can't believe anyone's doing this, but I guess the upside is the patients don't even know what's happening, and it doesn't look like this costs any money. It's just a waste of time more than anything else.
Like, who is this for?
I think he just wants to see if prayer can work. I think there was an article in NPR where they said, they quoted this doctor as saying, I told my wife about this, and I'm paraphrasing, she basically rolled her eyes at him. But he's like, maybe it'll work, and if it works, wouldn't that be interesting? like, yeah, maybe it would. It's not going to work.
Stop wasting this is the 2020 when we've been trying to figure out if prayer works for the last 2,000 years. 2020 is the moment that it really clicks in. Finally got it. It's like, oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I've been letting infants die for no specific reason, but this is the thing I'm really going to step in on.
Yeah. So those are the ones I had to get through. There are other things that happened this week, but whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
Where do we find you?
Wait, I have a couple things I want to talk about.
Oh, please.
One is if you are a Patreon subscriber, you can go to patreon.com/friendlyatheistpodcast. My husband and I have been we've been watching movies about people being trapped places and recording podcasts about them. My husband was a film major. He's a nerd. I am much easier to please than he is. Tonight, before we did this, Mikey and I watched, it's called He's Out There, He's Outside, unclear. It's just like a really standard horror movie that spooked me and Mikey hated, and genuinely, we talked about it for maybe 45 minutes. It's the hardest I've laughed in like 3 weeks because Mikey was so angry that I enjoyed this stupid movie.
Always a good horror movie when you're laughing throughout.
Yeah, exactly. That's one. 2, if you listen to Judge John Hodgman, you'll hear a recording of me talking this week because I sent in a request for Judge John Hodgman's ruling. 3, I was also, and this isn't something anybody can find, but John Hodgman does a daily Instagram live feed called Get Your Pets. He does it every day at 4 Eastern, so 3 Central. I was on it earlier this week. And so I don't know if you've ever done an Instagram live guy, but you do it and people can request to be on your show or like to be let in. And so he just picks random people and interviews their pets. So it's usually dogs or cats. Sometimes it's emus or birds or what the fuck ever. I was on Monday, I think, with Dottie. It was a fucking delight. So those are everything is garbage. This has been kind of a fun week, all things considered. But all that said, you can, if you want to. Oh, also brag time. Yesterday, I finished 30 days of yoga. I did 30 days in a row of yoga every day. Okay, I understand you're about to say that it's the whitest thing you've ever heard, and that's not unfair, but I feel really good about it, so I'm not going to let you take this away.
I was going to say congratulations. I don't know what you're talking about.
You were not. You've never congratulated me on fucking anything. True. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Blueberry, BLUEBURIE. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's the same thing, but with a Y, BLUEBURY, because I did this in like fucking 2009. I didn't know anybody would care. It's not my fault. Hemant, where can we find you, bud?
I'm at Hemant Mehta. Go to patreon.com/friendlyatheistpodcast. Thank you to
everyone. What do we say? This weekend or early next week, we'll do watch that terrible movie.
Yeah, we're going to watch the terrible movie soon.
I've actually thought, like, should I ship Hemant a bottle of wine so he can drink while we're doing this? But like, are you sure you don't drink wine very much?
I need to ship out my kids first, but then I'm all in.
Okay. Hey, email us at friendlyatheistpodcast@gmail.com. Oh, really quick before we go, of course, I want to read the latest 5-star review of our podcast, which I'm going to find right now. I just have it pulled up because I'm a real professional. This is from iTunes Raven, RAVYN 79. Informative and easy to listen to. One of my favorite podcasts. Feels like I'm listening to a conversation my friends are having. Thank you very much. You can just go on iTunes or whatever and leave us a 5-star review. It means a lot. Send this to your friends if you want, or if not, I don't care.
Do it.
I'm never leaving my house. All right, Hemant. I'll talk to you next week. Bud.
Bye.
All right. Bye.